set up a business. The bottom right picture is from a society called Enactus, where we focus on social enterprise and sustainable development. So that was taken at Nationals down in London. And then I've also actually had the opportunity to set up my own society since being at university, which is working with refugees in Lancaster and Morecambe. Another great thing that Lancaster does provide is international opportunities. I've been very fortunate to be able to travel in my time at Lancaster. The photo in the bottom right is from my first year, where I went to Boston and New York, which is open to all students. The top photo is actually from New Zealand. I was out there over the past summer competing in a case study competition, which was pretty cool. And the other photo is from South Africa, where it wasn't actually a university trip, but I found out about it through university. Another thing that isn't on this slide is you'll have the opportunity to apply for modules that might have trips. So I'm currently undertaking a module in organisation, work and technology as a minor, which would have been a trip to Portugal to visit the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. And unfortunately, we're not going in the current climate, but students have gone all over the world with that. Another great thing about Lancaster is, especially the management school, is you have specialised career support. So you don't just get supported by the whole uni careers team, but we also have a management school careers team. I actually work for them. I'm not biased, but they did help me find my placement year, which is where these pictures are from. So I spent a year down in London working at an investment bank in corporate social responsibility, which was an invaluable experience. And I don't think without the support that Lancaster has given me, I would have made it to that. And I think over to Victoria.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Victoria, as I mentioned before, and I was just wanted to say about some volunteering which you can do as a freshers rep for each college. I really liked how my reps took care of me when I moved in. When like in my first year, they just showed me around and like told me everything about university, like all the like uni experience. So it's just cool to be a freshers rep in like your second or third year. Also, you can take part in many. You can be part of many societies. I was part of a fashion society, and you could also take part in their fashion show if that's what you're interested in. Also, uni gave me a chance, the photo on the right, to represent Lancaster Uni at semi-finals of IBM University Business Challenge, because they formed a few teams to start to take part in this challenge, and we managed to get into semi-finals. And I'm part of Lonsdale College, which is one of the two oldest colleges, and we have competition which is called like Founders in June between Lonsdale and other like older college Poland. There are many bar sports, netball, football within the college, between competition between colleges, but Finn will talk more about it. Each college also has travel awards. So, for example, if you take part in global opportunities or you do some volunteering during summer, you can apply for like travel awards, which is around, I would say, from £50 to £200, but it's always something. And yeah, in each college has a unique college bar, study spaces, and extra, which is a themed like I would say it's kind of like a campus festival in June, which is like 3 days. You just choose which ones you want to go to. And yeah, as I mentioned before, there are many societies, more than 150. There is a freshers fair during freshers weeks, so you could look around, like ask presidents and vice presidents about like if you could like how everyone can join each society, like any society they want to. There are yeah, I think everyone can find something for themselves, and you can represent the university to compete during Roses, which is the biggest between universities competition in Europe. It's between our university and York, and yeah, you can get engaged like as much as you want to. For example, you can be a president, like apply for presidency. in your second year or third year, or like vice president, which really looks good on your CV. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you. Oh no, sorry, Lancaster Award. I'm sorry. Yeah, I also did Lancaster Award, which basically I didn't even realize that it will be so easy because I did all the things already. So I just had to actually list all the things I did, realize, use the STAR method. So say what I actually learned and how it, like what it gave me. And Lancaster University gave me also opportunity to have work experience as a student ambassador for management school. There are many careers workshops which you could sign up for through the website, and there are also like many volunteering opportunities, like an actus, like Freya said before, which I also did in my second year. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, you're right. So I'm just going to talk about my experience through Lancaster Uni. So first, talking about the management school, even coming from day one, doing economics, you always kind of like, they're always there to sort of like guide you through. So it wasn't like you get there and you're all on your own. Like, it was really helpful to have academics and, you know, tutors looking after you and making sure that you're getting the best experience in first year. And also the career service and management school is really good as well. So especially for me, they kind of sat down with me side by side, going through my CV, helped me out with job applications, you know, even like sat next to us whilst I put out my first few job applications to make sure I was doing that all right. So that's something I should, if you were here, definitely take advantage of. Yeah, I'll just move on to, I talk about my college more. So I'm in Fylde College, and the college system's a really great way to kind of get involved at uni. So the first thing I'd probably talk about is like living on campus in first year. It's everyone's in the same boat being in first year, you know, no one knows more than each other. So it's a great way to kind of all be on the campus, and just getting to know people through your college is a different way instead of just the course or your flat. And also college sports is also a really good way to get involved with people. So it's anyone from any ability can go down and have a go. And it's just all about, you know, meeting new people and, you know, taking more advantage of the college system. You know, we have different events and different social gatherings during that. And then just talking about Lancaster in general. So Lancaster itself, yeah, it is a smaller city compared to other major unis, but I don't think for me personally, this has ever been that much of an issue. There's great things to do on and off the campus, but also travel links to get around the rest of the country. You know, we're only a couple hours on the train away from London, and, you know, you're connected to other northern cities. So it's just kind of what you make of it. And definitely if you take advantage of that, it's definitely a great place to study. Yes, I think we're just going to go to, if anybody has any questions there, just put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them now.
Yeah, I think the first question was from Veronica.
Hi. Yeah, so I'll take that one, guys.
Okay.
So I'll just take the start of it, and then you guys can talk about your experience. When you say within LUMS, Veronica, do you mean while you're studying or after you've completed? If you can just clarify that, and then we'll make sure. So she's not replied. But I'll hand back over to the students in a second. I just wanted to clarify that. But there are opportunities for part-time work while you're studying. There's also support, as Finn sort of touched on, with applying for jobs as well. But for all you guys that are asking questions in this nature, there is a talk at 1 o'clock, the opportunities talk. I'll put the details in the chat box, but I'll hand back over to the students now, and they can talk about their experiences in terms of the support they've received with that.
Yes, I've just seen Veronica put in there to do with part-time jobs. And yeah, it's really easy to get a part-time job through the uni. So we have the employability and recruitment service. And like, if you can just, like, when you're a student here, go on there and just look through a list of different vacancies. You know, that's how I found this job through the management school. But, you know, you can work across like loads of different places in the uni. So you can work in the college bars, things like that, and offer different support through different departments. So it's really easy to kind of get a part-time job if that's what you're looking to do while you're studying at uni.
And the uni pays a really good basic wage as well. I have friends that have done all sorts of things. I mean, we all work as student ambassadors. I also work in careers, but I have friends that have worked in the shops or in the bars, and there is plenty of opportunities for jobs on campus. I also know people that have had part-time jobs in town. There's plenty of opportunities and lots of support from the employment recruitment service if you do want that.
Okay, great. Great, guys. So the next question is from Karen. Do we book accommodation? So Karen, yeah, on accommodation, guys. Obviously, most students live on campus during the first year. So if you do choose to live on campus, we will be sending out emails in June. So you don't need to worry about that just yet. It's something that our accommodation team send out in June. And I mean, the guys can kind of expand on this a little bit more from their experiences, but that's when you pick your college as well. So you pick your college and you pick your type of accommodation at that point. So you don't need to worry about that. It happens in June, but then you will know once results are in, which accommodation you have. So you'll put down your preferences depending on your college and your accommodation type. And then once the results are in, we will confirm which accommodation type you've got. Now, obviously, things are a little bit different this year because the exams have been cancelled. So we're just working through all of that from a Lancaster perspective at the moment and what that means for you guys. But don't worry about anything. And if you are interested in that side, there is an admissions talk as well at 2:30. But I don't know if Freya, Victoria, or Finn have got anything to say about how they chose their accommodation, their college, anything like that.
I think.
Yeah, I chose I think Grisdale. I think most of the people choose it as their first place, and then I chose Fylde, but I got allocated to Lonsdale. I wouldn't say I regret or anything because I chose ensuite, so I think I was allocated according to my preference of like kind of room, and yeah, I was happy with it as well. So
I think one thing, we talk a lot about the college system, but don't worry about what college you get put in. Every college has its own benefits, and I think the most important thing about the college system is it means when you move to uni, you're in a smaller community, so you're not kind of thrown into, by the way, here's 6,000, 7,000 people at the uni. You meet people at your college first. So whatever college you do end up in, it might be your first choice, it might not be your first choice. You'll still have a good time.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. So make sure you find that balance between like choosing your college, but also choosing what type of accommodation you want as well, because not all colleges offer the same type of accommodation. So make sure you take both into consideration when you're picking.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Finn. And all of that information is available in the links, so in the accommodation website. So the next question from Doris, is it often to have students do placements in another country? Students do that. And again, I'll ask the guys to talk about any experiences that they know with that. But again, Doris, I really strongly urge anyone that's got questions like this to attend the session at 1 p.m. because our careers team will be there and they will cover all of this in far more detail than we have the time to here. But you guys, do you know anyone, or even, I know Freya, you did yours in London, but do you know anyone that did that and did their placement abroad?
Yeah, so we just on my course we had 10 of us that have returned from placement. Someone was working at a startup in New York. I know a girl who's come back from her placement year and she was working at a hotel chain in, I think it was Malaga. It's loads of international students will go back to their home country to work on their placement. It's very much up to you. Uni doesn't find your placement for you. It is 100% down to you to apply for what you want and find a job you want. So it's definitely possible to do that, not in the UK.
Else, Victoria, Finn, do you guys have anything to add to that?
I just know about like some of my friends who are from Poland as me. One of like my friends, he did it in one of Polish cities. So he didn't get it through university, but he just posted his uni, and he did a placement in Poland, and he just came back for his 4th year.
Perfect. So yeah, guys. So when Freya says, and Victoria's just touched on it as well, the university doesn't find the placement for you. We do support you to find the placement, and coach you through that process. But you can apply to your placement year wherever, really within reason. So that is something that's down to you as well, if that's something you really want to do. So Rita's got a similar question about if she chooses to do a sandwich year to work in a 3rd year, what type of job will I be able to do? Freya, do you want to talk a little bit about your job that you did in your placement?
Yeah, so it's very much, as I said, it's up to you what you do. They like there to be some link to your degree, but you can really do whatever you want on placement. The careers team, both in LUMS and university-wide, are brilliant, and will provide lots of support. So what I did, I worked in corporate social responsibility. I was very, very passionate about wanting to work with charities and volunteering, and they helped me. There's not many charity placements out there, so they helped steer me towards that. So I got to do what I wanted to do. It's obviously not a typical entrepreneurship placement, but there is no such thing as a typical placement, really. Apply for what you want to do. Some people have had placements where they've approached a company. I know someone that very passionate about brewing. He went up to a brewery in the Lake District and said, I want to do my placement for you, and they created him a job. So you really can do whatever you want.
Cool, thank you. So Finn, do you want to take this next one? Is there a good balance between free time and studies? From Lydia.
Yeah, so to do with free time and studies, I think you just like throughout your process at uni, you'll work out your own balance, because like I think there is the misconception that, you know, if you're not studying, you're not doing anything, but like, you know, this will probably be for the majority of years the first time that you've moved out of home. So I know in first year especially, some of your free time will be made, you know, just being at like finding that adjustment to living with yourself. So like whether that's, you know, cooking or like cleaning or like doing your laundry, but like it depends on how much work you really put in. So like obviously the more work you put in, like it's a weird balance. So, you know, you can spend all your time working and not have much of a free time, but definitely the more you work, the more free time it allows you, because you kind of get all your work out of the way, if that makes sense. But yeah, there is a good balance. It just depends how you really want to make that balance for yourself. I know some people who like to, you know, give themselves a 9 to 5 day in the library and just like work then, or some people who, you know, work, you know, 10 p.m. till 3 a.m. It's just how you find that balance for yourself, really.
Cool. Thanks, Finn. That's great. So how and when do you join the societies? Victoria, do you want to take that one?
So as I said before, you have a Freshers Week, and then you can actually see what you're interested in and what societies we offered. And then you can, most of sports societies, they give taster sessions during Freshers Week. Some of them also do it at the beginning of second term. It all depends how they work, but you can also join them through their pages. So you can find all of them on Facebook. So it just depends on each society, but it's really easy. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a page actually which I'll post in the chat that you guys can look at to see all the different societies, and there are also opportunities to set your own up. And so Veronica, whilst you're studying like a part-time job, so do you mean like having a part-time job? I think we've kind of covered that, haven't we guys already?
I think that was her answering when you asked her to clarify earlier.
Ah, sorry, yeah, I'm behind the times. How many hours of classes do you have per week? So Freya, do you want to take that first? But if you can all talk about that a little bit, that'd be good.
I think it really varies. I think the set amount they aim for is 20 contact hours a week, but like Finn said, there is a misconception that it's classes or free time. The big thing about uni is independent study, and they say, I think for every hour in class, you're probably expected to do an hour or 2 hours of independent study. So you might have less contact hours, and it might at first look like, oh wow, I'm not going to be in uni at all. You will still be having plenty of work to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that is the difference between what you guys might have done at school or college and the kind of style of learning at university. So sorry, Finn, Victoria, do you guys want to add to that?
Go on.
You can go first, Finn.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it is that sort of, you know, the contact hours aren't essentially all of it, because in this past term, I think in my final year, I had 6 hours a week, but that's because my dissertation's taken up all my time for that. So you don't have like timetable class for a dissertation, but it's probably, I'm working on that 4 or 5 hours a day. So it's really, you know, don't look at your timetable and think that's the be all end all, because it will vary with the degree as well, because some degrees are more, you know, lecture based, some are more seminar based, but it's kind of the extra time outside of it adds up as well.
Yeah, so for example, I study finance, and this year I had around 14 hours per week, but first year, because I chose language as my minor, I had 20 hours. So it all depends on which modules you choose, like would you have like what degree, obviously. But yeah, I definitely spent quite a lot of time in the library anyway. So I would say it depends, really.
Great, thanks guys. So Karen's asking, can second and third year students still live on campus? Is it only guaranteed for first year students? Again, I'll just answer that from a factual perspective, but the students can jump in. Yes, second and third year students can, but what tends to happen is that in the second year, most people move off campus, and then some may come back in the third year, but it is actually only guaranteed for first year students. That's correct. Do you guys have any experience of that you want to share?
Not me personally. I mean, I'd followed the same route that most people take, where their first year they live on campus, and then for second and third they move into the city centre and live in town. But I do know some people who, for example, in their third year move back on just to be closer to, you know, the uni facilities like the library, especially when work ramps up quite a bit. So there is that flexibility there, and you know, you kind of people do what works for them more. So there is the opportunity to, and there are benefits of moving back on to campus, say like if you want to be close to the library or like your faculty building.
Yeah, I know also that people who did their placement, they choose to live on campus on fourth year because most of their friends either graduated or they already chose people to live with. And yeah, then it's quite convenient to live on campus, I would say. And you can also apply for, if you have some friend you want to live in and you're in the same college, you can apply to be placed in the same flat. So yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah, and there's
Great.
also there's also uni halls in town. So I lived in Chancellor's Wharf in my second year, which is uni managed halls, but in town. And I do know people that have stayed on campus all 3 years. I know people that have been off campus all 3 years. It's really individual choice.
Thanks, guys. So Freya, I think you're probably best to take this one for the minute. For some of the trips, is it the university pays or is it self-funded?
It varies. So I mentioned I've been on a number of trips with uni. First year when I went to America, that was self-funded, but you can, as Victoria mentioned, apply for travel grants from your college. Then I was very fortunate that my New Zealand trip was funded by university because it was a competition. They paid for the 4 of us to go out and represent the university. But I think most trips are you pay. It really depends what you want to do. We have summer schools which can be at partner universities that can be free, can be paid, dependent on scholarships. There's kind of opportunities for everyone.
Yeah, there are also some grants because my friend did it and she got a grant from Santander, which was around £700, and she went to Malaysia. So I think that like she covered some of the costs, obviously, and it was quite helpful.
Great, thanks guys. So where are the 3 of you from? Are there a lot of foreign students in Lancaster? So I'll let you guys talk about where you're from, but in terms of being a lot of international students, yeah, we're a very international university. We're the International University of the Year for the Times this year. And at undergraduate, there's a bit of a mix. So you'll have students from all over the UK that you'll be studying with, but also students from all over Europe, all over Asia. We have some from the Americas as well. So you'll really get a really international experience. And from my perspective, that's really important to you guys as business and management students, because obviously we're operating in a global world as the coronavirus is 100% highlighted, and we're all really interconnected. So for you guys to learn about different cultures is really important. But do you guys want to say like where you're from and what your experience of that is, like studying with students from different parts of the world?
I can start. Yeah, I'm from Warsaw in Poland, and most of my I studied finance, and most of my course mates are from Asia. But for example, first year I was placed in accommodation, and I would say that the proportion is half-half. So half of British people, half of internationals. This year I live with like 3 people from London, one guy from Dubai, one girl from Ukraine, and 2 girls, like one girl from Essex and Liverpool. So basically, it varies, but I would say it's around half-half. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm obviously a UK student. I'm from Hampshire, down south, so about 5 hours away from Lancaster. And I think on my course, entrepreneurship, there is a lot more international. I think I'd probably say about 70% of our course is international students. So I'm very lucky. I have friends from all over Europe, all over the world, lots of people coming over from different Asian countries. Sometimes we get exchange students from America. It's a very international university, which is great.
Yeah, so I'm from Newcastle, so further up north than Lancaster. And yeah, to echo all those points, really, it's a really international university. I mean, there's never been, I think I've barely met anyone from Newcastle at uni, but I've met, more people from Australia than Newcastle, which it doesn't make much sense, but it's the way it is, like.
Guys, okay, so we're getting a lot of questions about sports. So Finn, I know you've got some experience with this. So someone specifically asked about badminton and basketball, but also just the chance to kind of like play sports casually. So do you mind just talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's no bother. So it's sort of broken up into two: sports at uni. So we've got sports through your college and then sports playing for the uni. So I know if I've just seen badminton and basketball there, I know we both have teams for them. But then also you can play for your college instead. So you kind of, if you play for the uni, you represent Lancaster Uni against other unis in the country. So you're on Wednesday afternoons, you'll either be playing home matches or traveling across the country to go play against other unis. But then in your college, it's more of a college league. So the 9 colleges will play against each other in football, bar sports, and netball. And that's a great way just to meet other people from your college and get involved. It's really any ability level as well. So if you just, there's always an opportunity to play. And I saw a question later on about, it's just about sport as well. Let me just try and find that. It's about you wanted to play sport for fun. I can't remember who said that. But yeah, I mean, you can always go down and give these sports a go. But then if you just want to organise like a more of a recreational league with your mates, that's also an opportunity you can do through the Students' Union.
And I want to just chip in that all the college teams do have recreational leagues as well. So I've played recreational netball. I'm rubbish, but it's still great to go and kind of play. Also, we've got a new society. We've got bench ball. They don't compete in bucks or anything, but it's just like you would play in primary school, bench ball. So I went along to some of the sessions of that. And we also have a programme run by the Students' Union called Just Play, where I think you pay £1 and you can go along to different sports sessions every week. So there's loads of opportunities to do sports more casually.
Great, thanks guys. So I've just put in a couple of links in the chat just to draw everyone's attention to. So I've put a link to the Student Society page on the Students' Union. I've also put a link to the sports page. So you should be able to find some more information about all those questions about sport on there. So I'm just going to look. So there's one student's asked, Carl has asked, are there any major changes to the university after Brexit? No, not really. It's not affected us yet because it hasn't fully happened yet. However, what we do know, if you're a student from the EU, essentially you will still have the same access to the funding that you would have had last year. That's guaranteed. For this year, we don't know beyond that, obviously. And then for other students, it shouldn't really affect anybody else, really. So it's all obviously a bit of a wait and see. And things can change overnight, as we've seen with the recent coronavirus epidemic. But at the minute, it's just the same as we have before. It's not really affected anything yet. Definitely not. So okay, the next question: what's the timetable? I think we've covered that, James, but I don't know if you were here for that. But we will be sending out the recording afterwards. So Finn, this is probably one for you because it's specific about economics, but it's saying about the overlap of A-level. Did you do A-level economics, Finn?
Yeah, so I saw that question. It's A-level business and economics. So I did A-level econ.
Sorry, business and economics. Sorry.
I think maybe 2 separate A-levels there, so I couldn't talk about the business side. But in terms of economics, I do an economics degree. I'd say in first year there was quite a bit of overlap. So there was overlap because they're trying to bring everyone else up to the same point to start off the main teaching in second year when they start to count your degree. So there is a bit of overlap, but then it also progresses it on further and also gives it more real world context as well. So Karen, who said that the advice I'd give is like, there is overlap, but keep going, because obviously there's changes to exams this year. Keep learning, but also try and apply what you know to the news as well. So if you see something in the news, try and link your knowledge to that, because that's what will really help you progress further in first year and get a better mark with that. That's what I definitely found.
Definitely. Freya, have you got anything to add about that in terms of what you studied at school or college to how it's overlapped?
So I actually did BTEC business, BTEC environmental sustainability and A-level media, so a bit different. So I can't really talk to the comparison of A-level business, but I definitely found it led on and set up very well.
Yeah, because I think as well, a lot of the courses that we offer, such as entrepreneurship that Freya's studying, you don't need to have studied it before. So for economics, for the BSc, we do ask for maths. But for most of our programs, we don't ask you to have studied anything before. So Freya's example there's classic, really. Everyone comes in with a different background knowledge. But as Finn said, anything you can do, like reading the news. I mean, this from an economic perspective at the minute, there's a lot going on, isn't there? So anything you can do like that, guys, just to make yourselves familiar with what's happening in the world and how it applies is really good. So I think we've kind of covered the living in town compared to living in campus. But how easy is it to find accommodation in the city? Veronica, do you want to take that one?
Victoria, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just read Veronica.
Yeah,
sorry. It's Veronica's question. Sorry.
Yeah, don't. But yeah, second year, first year, we had to apply with my friends quite early. You have to decide who you're gonna live with for like next year, and you know each other for maybe 2 months. So it is quite weird, but we signed up the agreement around November. And because a lot of third then second students, they sign up either the same accommodation or they already know where they want to go. Like they choose it quite early. So the accommodation is not that great then for you, but we still managed to get like quite decent accommodation. And then for third year, you sign up way earlier because you obviously know who you're gonna live with already. And yeah, but it's not hard. It's really easy, and you will find something. Everyone. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then a question from James about how often is the transport to the university in town and how long does it take? Does anyone want to answer that one?
Yeah, the buses run super frequently, every 5-10 minutes. It takes longer at rush hour. I think on a good trip it's 20 minutes from town to uni. On rush hour, bad traffic, things going on, probably about 45 minutes. I always personally leave an hour just so I can get in early and get a coffee.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that's an issue like that. Traveling to and from is not really something, it's part of your day to day getting into uni, just catch the bus. It's not the end of the world.
You're on mute, Lorraine.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I'm just aware that we've run over slightly, but as long as everyone's still happy to stay in the session, we'll still keep answering questions. But I'm aware that a lot of you will want to go to session at 1. So we've got a question from Rita that's saying about being from Portugal and exams might be postponed because of Corona, and you can't finish high school. Can that compromise my admission? Now, this is really for everybody. So at 2:30. We have a session with our head of admissions. Now, Rita, just to reassure you, you're not the only person that this is happening to. All our exams and assessments in the UK have been cancelled. And obviously we know it's happened in other countries as well, across the world. So please be reassured that, you're not in a unique position, and we are working through ways to support our students. So please, I encourage you to attend that session at 2:30. It is a frequently changing picture, and we're looking for national guidance from UCAS as well. So all you guys would have applied for UCAS, so they're helping us, universities across the UK, to work through this. So what's happening in the UK is that students are getting grades. They are going to get A-level and BTEC grades, and they're going to be based on their mock exams and predicted grades. So potentially they may do something similar in Portugal, and then that would be something that we could at least make a judgment on. But please, I'll put the links into the webpage where you guys can find all the links to the sessions, but I do encourage you to attend the 2:30 session with the head of admissions, because she will be talking about all of that. So Veronica is asking, how much does the travel fare to and from campus cost? Does anyone want to answer that?
Yeah, so the yearly one, so not even yearly, but like first, second, third term, I paid £270, I would say. But like both ways, it's around £2. Maybe someone can correct me because I'm not quite sure.
I think it's a bit more now. I think it's
50?
£2.50 for a
Yeah.
return. But if you're under 19, you can get an under 19 day rider if you're living on campus and just going into town.
Yeah,
which is cheaper.
that's true.
Yeah, if you're living in town, it's definitely worthwhile getting a yearly bus pass. But if you live on campus, you're not going to be going back. You might not be going back and forth daily. So it's maybe something you not really need to consider. But if you're living in town, definitely need to consider that, because you'll save heaps of money.
Yeah, and it's worth saying for students that do live on campus, they have a free bus to Sainsbury's every Wednesday. As long as you spend over £5 in Sainsbury's, it's free there and back. So a lot of people do that.
Cool, thanks guys. So we're just moving to the last few questions now. So there's one specifically about martial arts groups. I'm not 100% certain that there are specific ones, but I've just posted a link to, there you go. So these guys will know better than me, but I've just posted another link to the Students' Union sports pages. So if you look in the chat, guys, you'll see several links that I've posted that relate to sport, so please do have a good look on there. But Freya, you said there are martial arts groups?
I believe there is. I can't talk to which ones there are, but I know I've definitely seen people in different martial arts gear at Freshers' Fair demonstrating. So
brilliant. So that's great. Okay, so how busy does the library get? Victoria, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I would say the library is quite busy this year, but because they're building a library extension, so like some part was also closed. But when is the extension opening? Like next year or in 2 years? No, next year, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it will be busy then. It will be perfect. But everyone will find a space even now, so it's not that bad. But yeah.
Yeah, and also there are other study spaces, and again, these guys will be able to tell you more about this. But your college has study spaces. There are study spaces across the university that you guys can use, so it's not just, you're not just reliant on the library. Do any of you want to talk a little bit about that? Or?
Yeah.
Yes,
so
I'll go
on. So there's loads of spaces around uni you can study. I think Victoria mentioned in her presentation, every college has its own study room. I spend a lot of time working in the management school. There's loads of free seating there. We have the learning zone, which is open 24 hours. There's plenty of places you can study if the library is busy.
Finn, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, I'd just say as well, like there's different spaces for different scenarios as well. So at uni, you'll have a lot of group work as well. So it's not just individual, you'll be giving presentations or have to complete assignments as part of a group. So we've got spaces like the learning zone and like your college study space is probably better for that. And you can book out individual meeting rooms in the library as well. So there's different, it's not just all everywhere on campus is dead silent when you work in, there are different spaces for different needs really.
Cool, thanks guys. So then there's a question from Karen about how much maths is required. So Karen, if you have got your if you have had your offer through for the business economics degree, which you must have done to be able to be on this chat right now, it is a requirement that you have maths GCSE level. So it's a requirement that you have maths at GCSE B or a 6 to go onto the BSc Business Economics degree. It's not a requirement that you have maths A level, but Finn can kind of talk a little bit, although Finn isn't on that particular route, and he can talk a little bit about the maths that's involved. But what I probably suggest you do if you're concerned is if you email us at LUMS, LUMS, at lancaster.ac.uk. I'll put that in the chat as well. We can forward that on to Vincent and he can have a chat with you about that. But Finn, do you want to add anything there?
Yeah, so I'm econ and politics, so I'm not business econ, but there is some overlapping modules there. I did A-level maths, but I don't claim to be any genius at maths. So that's one of my worries I had as well, where you worry if it's going to be a bit much. But it's like they kind of in first year you'll have like a dedicated maths module in economics. I think that'll be the same for business econ, and we've got other help sessions out there. So we've got the maths and stats help that I've used that quite a bit. Just if you go in there with a maths problem for your degree, normally PhD students or other members of staff will give you a hand there, and that's really useful. So I'd take advantage of that if that's one of your worries. But there's always help there. It's not like you're going to get left behind if your maths is one of your weaker points. Like.
Yeah, definitely. We do have specific help for that, as Finn said. So a couple of questions, one from Claudia, one from Nathan about catered accommodation. So we do have catered accommodation on campus. Not every college offers it, but again, following the event, we'll be sending out links so you can have a good look and decide which one it is if you prefer that. Then in terms of the type of catering that it is, it's on one of the actual outlets rather on campus. Do you guys know anyone who's actually had catered halls?
Yeah, some of my friends from Lonsdale, they had it, and yeah, like catering. And this year they introduced, for example, so you can have breakfast in different places on campus. So there is a place like called the Deli. You can take like pancakes or like waffles or some breakfast. No, sorry, like breakfast offer. So it's a variety.
Breakfast is really good at Deli.
Yeah.
breakfast.
So
breakfast is good.
If you prefer it, yeah, if you prefer being catered and you're not the best at cooking and you can afford it, I would go for it. All my friends were happy with it, so.
Cool. So quick info on different colleges. Claudia, we haven't got loads of time to go into that, but we will be sending a link out in that. But if we can just very quickly, if all three of you just want to talk a little bit about the college that you're in and kind of what it offers, that'd be great.
I don't know who wants to go first. I think every college offers plenty. So I'm in Pendle. So I guess we are the music college, if you were going to define it, but the stereotypes don't always hold true. Basically, we're thought of as that, as we have open mic nights every few weeks, and lots of live bands come and perform in Pendle, which is really nice.
Yeah, Lonsdale is, as I said before, one of two oldest colleges. So we have the sport competition founders between us and Bowland in June. It's more like a small community because it's all like in a quad, like in a circle, the buildings. I really liked it. To be fair, most of my friends are from Lonsdale somehow, because also a lot of management school students are in Lonsdale. I don't know how it is located, but most of them, they are from there. So yeah.
I think it comes down to proximity. So when you look on the campus map, you'll see that that's the closest college to the management school. But I'm sure these guys would agree that it doesn't, like, campus is big, but it's not huge. You're never going to be walking like an hour from your halls to your lecture. So don't let that dominate your decision. But anyway, Freya, do you want to talk about your college experience a little bit?
I think it's Finn that's still to go.
Sorry, guys.
I'm
trying to do two things at once.
So I'm in Fylde, and that's got more reputation as a sports college because we've got the sports bar as our college bar. So there's, they put on all the live matches. But it's not the misconception that, if you're in one college, you stick exclusively to that college, but you'll meet loads of mates from other colleges. So to be honest, you'll be doing events from different colleges as well. So I know a lot of my mates are in Finesse College as well. So I'll do a lot of mixing with those other events. But it's with the college system, I always say it's like what you put into it is what you get out of it. So the more you invest in, your college sport or like your college events, you'll sort of see it more. But, if that's not really your thing, you can do other societies external to your college, like.
Yeah, and I think you guys have a lot of kind of friends in your colleges from what I've heard. And although I have my college, I don't spend loads of time there. I have friends my friends are mostly my course friends. They're from all across campus. Some of my best friends are Grisdale, County, Fylde, Furness. It's not a barrier, but a lot of people do make really close friends straight away and stick with them, which is also really nice.
Great, thanks, guys. So someone's asked about green spaces. So we have so many green spaces at Lancaster. There's actually like a woodland trail that runs the perimeter of campus. So I often go running at lunchtime around that. It's about 5 kilometers. So it's a nice thing to do in your lunch. But do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? How you use the green spaces, like the barbecue spaces, things like that we have?
Yeah, I think it's really good just to have that sort of space. Like, it's different to be in a city uni where you're kind of walking between your lectures and you're walking like down a high street or something. But with us, it's like, you take a break from your lectures and you're into, the green spaces, like you said, with the woodland walk. And also we are really close to other spaces like the Drop of Bowland and the lakes, which is like only, 40 minutes on the train or something. If you do that, if that's sort of your thing, you can get away for a weekend or something like that.
Yeah, there's loads of green spaces on campus. We're kind of in the middle of a load of fields, really, which is lovely. I mean, I'm from rural Hampshire and I came to Lancaster because it kept the green spaces nearby. Great memories of summer, just playing frisbee on the greens and having a barbecue. We have barbecues that you can use for free in the summer. You just have to go to the porters and get a key. It's the woodland trail is really lovely for walks. I used to do that quite a lot when I lived on campus. It's also the walk from campus into town's really nice. I've done it down the main road. I've done it. You can walk along a bit and then go by the canal, walk into town, which is a bit longer. There's loads of lovely green spaces in and around campus.
Cool, thanks guys. So I've just posted an aerial shot of campus. It's not actually the most up-to-date one, but it gives you an idea of like we are set in greenery. But equally, I don't want you guys to think that we're isolated. As Freya said, it is really easy to get into town and to have that city side of life as well. But what's really great about our campus is that everything is there that you need. So as we've talked about, the college bars are there, and there's loads of really nice places to eat and drink. We've already spoken about the deli, but there's a couple of Chinese restaurants, there's an Indian, there's a Mexican. So like, you can have a really good social life on campus and feel that kind of buzz, as well as being able to get into those green spaces and really enjoy the outdoors as well. So yeah, Melissa, I've already answered that, and Finn touched on that. You can attend events at colleges you're not part of, absolutely. And Billy, yes, you do. You put a preference for your colleges. So we talked about that a little bit earlier, but you may have missed it. So essentially, you get a preference of which type of college you want to go to and the type of accommodation within that college. So I think it was Finn that mentioned earlier, different colleges do have different types of accommodation, so that may well make your decision about the college. But as Freya was saying, it depends how much involvement you guys want. Like, some people get really involved in college life and take, and have different opportunities. Other people get involved in different sides of life. So don't worry about the colleges. It's just an added benefit to being a Lancaster student. So we've got one last question. So we're just going to take this last question from Karen, just because I'm conscious that the career sessions due to start at 1, and I know quite a lot of you had questions about that. So how many students do you accept for the business management degree and in the management school as a whole? So business management, Karen, it's a bit tricky because this is the first year that we've actually just had the business management degree. So last year, I think it was you that asked the question actually in the business management chat. We had international management as well. So I can't 100% answer that question because it's a new structure that we've got this year. But in the management school as a whole, there is. Let me just double check because I don't want to give you the wrong information. But do you guys want to talk about how many people are on your course while I just look?
I think on my course, like first year was around 500 people, I would say, because then it's a bit like splits up because, for example, I'm doing finance. There are some people doing accounting and finance. So it's all depending like which modules you chose. So, but yeah, I would say starting was around 500 people, accounting and finance students.
Yeah, for politics specifically, I think there's about 80 of us, but you never really a specific cohort in particular joint honours because you're all off doing your different modules that you've selected. So it's not like you're exclusively having lectures with, in my case, economics and politics student. you in economics lectures and separate politics ones, so you're kind of interacting with people across many different degrees, like.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're kind of
definitely.
the opposite. We're a really small cohort. I think there's 30 major students per year for entrepreneurship, which is really nice. But then we have a lot of minor students who major in other things coming to do our modules as minors. So it's a lot more of a kind of a community of majors, I think, compared to I originally used to do marketing as my major, and there was no way I could know all the marketing students, but I know everyone that majors in entrepreneurship by name.
Great. So yeah, so I was going to say 3,500 undergraduates, and I was right. There's 3,500 undergraduates in the management school, so that's across all years. And then we have about 1,000 postgraduate students as well. So that's about 4,000 in the management school, 4,500, something like that in the management school. And the university as a whole was about 13,000 students. So the campus is a really busy place, but equally it's not as big as some other universities in the country whereby you might feel like you're just one in a million kind of thing. So, and as Finn said, it does kind of depend what course you're doing and what modules you choose as well, how many people and who you'll have lessons with. So guys, I'm going to have to leave it there just because we've got our session starting soon. So on careers and study abroad. So if you want to join that, it's called our opportunity session. And please go back to the webpage. I will just put it in the chat so that you guys can see where you find the link, and that will hopefully answer a lot of the questions that you have about study abroad and things like that. So please join that, and take care. And we really hope that you guys are all keeping well during this time. We know it's a bit of an uncertain time, and we really appreciate you joining us. So thank you. Bye.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.